it's really special to stand in front of people like this. Regardless of if it's children or the adults, you sweat small. You sweat small. As you can see, I'm sweating. And I was told that it's a good thing because it pushes you to prepare and learn from the people just in front of you. So, I'm going to be talking about strategies of teaching ICT to children between the ages of 5 to 15. And that's my name down there. Sorry. My name, Kgomotso. If you can't say it, let's go KG. Okay. We'll go to the next one. Go back on. Okay. So, that's the tiny children in nursery in front of the computer. So we're going to try and speak about strategies for all of them. For instance, for people, I know Mr. Albert teaches all of them, so it's going to be his baby. But in this instance, the way I was thinking about the strategies, because it's basically the same strategies for every subject. Be it math, science, history, it's the same, we just change it. So it's going to cover almost everything. And a plan, so we're going to look at strengths in ICT, which is going to be slightly boring for some of you, but you have to always, by all means, try to link it with other subjects. So we'll talk about it later. Then we're going to talk about teaching strategies, and the first one is going to be hands-on or experiential learning. How many of us do this one? Hands-on. Please put up your hand if you do it. Hands-on, guys.
Where experiential means.
When we talk about it later, you're going to say, hey, I should have put up my hand. And the people that I spoke to, say at the back, I spoke to yesterday, you do a lot of it. Mr. Albert, you do a lot of it, but your hand is not up. So you do a lot of it, all of it. I think once we maybe happen to you two, once we leave university and we go to the classroom, some of the things that we learn in the terms, they just go away. And then when we are in this space, I don't know if we forget or we get used to it, to what we're doing, and then we forget all this nice terminology. When someone comes and say hands-on experiential learning, we're like, hey, which one is that one? But when they start explaining, like, no, I know this one, and I'm doing it every day. So we'll be looking at that, and we'll be looking at gamified lessons. That's why I was able to download the Kahoot game, and I know that one everyone will enjoy. And how many of us are doing that one, gamified lessons? Gamified. Mr. Albert. Games. How many of us are using games to teach? Put up your hand, please. 2 people. Maybe it's lunch. People are not hearing me properly.
Food is digested.
Then you're going to do function-based strategy. It's about storytelling. And we're looking at assessment and strategy. We're also going to be looking at student-led orientation. I think I took that one out. I think. So, and again, feedback. Then creativity. And we're going to have questions and answers at the board. Can you just see the board?
Yes.
Questions and answers. And for this one, you're going to be doing a lot of talk, a lot of writing, lots of everything. I'll be sitting here and try to manage this more from a distance. I hope you will enjoy that. Okay, so we start with the strengths. So we got a lot of strengths like in ICT. Those are the strengths you will, should I read? But all of these strengths are more like in all the subjects. For instance, I'll go in the last one. Okay. For instance, then I'll just go with handling information using ICT. Like the focus is to handle information. And then other subject, there's a focus as well. Let's say, for instance, if you go to languages, one of the strengths will be reading and viewing, and one of strengths will be speaking. And science, what is the strength say? What is the the strengths in science. So just run over the strengths for ICT. I mentioned languages, that in languages it's speaking, it's writing, it's reading and viewing. The science, what is one of the strengths?
Thinking, experimentation,
Aha.
and acquiring knowledge.
And acquiring knowledge. Other people in your subject, math.
We have the numbers and numbers.
So all of these, they all the same. So when we start teaching, we controlled or guided by all of this focus. However that you're going to go about it, it's all on you. And this is what we're all trying to achieve when we teach. Okay. Turn over, we teach, that's send the hardware and the software. Mr. Albert will agree or disagree, ask the questions on what we're doing. Everybody is more of this one, measuring and controlling using ICT. So all of this is, we do quite a lot of it in programming, coding, just to control and measure and all of those things. And the next one will be handling information. So we can use whole lot, but now I just decided to put spreadsheet just to handle information. And next one, communication. So communicate with a whole lot of things now that are well with emails. There's cell phones, there's WhatsApp, there's plenty of things that we use to communicate. Okay, and model using ICT, that's when we give instructions. Remember I spoke about instructions? Please tell people they were not here. How do you use instructions in your class to model whatever that you do?
Well,
Yeah.
for example,
Yes.
I would like to talk about skills in typing.
Yes.
Now, and then the machines I have there are not up to the numbers of students. So therefore, at first, I have to let them know where is the home row key from the classroom. So we have 9 fingers for typing. So I have to make sure that the little finger is for one specific alphabet or 2. So if you have that in mind, before getting close to the keyboard, they know whatever you are going to do over there. So it's not always that you have to send them to the IT lab, but with the skills over here, you can also use that skills there to get attention before the practical.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to be doing a lot of this, asking you questions, like pushing everything back to you. Why am I doing that? I'm just showing you that whatever that you guys are doing, it's all sharp, it's all correct. And whatever that you guys are doing, it's on that standard. After maybe this presentation or this workshop, you just need to go back and reflect in your class and the light change that you're going to do. But you are on that level. Don't underestimate yourselves. Can I continue now? Yes, please. Okay. And next one, problem solutions to solve problems. Or problem solution to solve problems. So this one, it's not big in the whole wide world. If you meet any parent who's asking you about coding and teach their child to code, and. Because it's just stepping one step away from just control, from just using the computer as an end user. If you wanted to just go back inside the computer and say, how does the computer work and how you can then program it. Okay, hands-on. Now I'm done with a whole lot of ICT. Sometimes I don't have words, so if I go there, I go. Okay, so hands-on and experiential learning. So everywhere in science, you guys make sure that children they do things with their hands. Mr. Jalu does a lot of it as well as we speak all the time. They own the computer. And they do look at these children, how happy they are. Can you see their faces? The smiles. So they're part of what's happening. They're not just sitting in the back like you guys are. You see, if I can take a picture of you guys and then show you to you, you look very much old. Because you're just sitting and you're receiving information from me. So it's, as I said, and hands-on, I've got a video for you.
I used to always count my hands And she goes, I love your hands. And she used to go like this to me. And one time I asked her, you know, what's the difference? And she said, you just have hands that you know how to work with your pottery.
We brought in some friends of mine who are traditional potters from the Payments in New Mexico. Wilma's been making pottery since she was 5 years old. She still practices handmade coiled pottery as her ancestors did more than 1,000 years ago.
This year, we were fortunate enough to come here to show how a handmade pottery is made and what kind of clay we use and everything traditional that I use.
In archaeology, we usually study ceramics and pottery after it's been broken and used up and buried in the ground for a couple thousand years. And so we wanted the students to see the process from the beginning, how pottery is made, how pottery is designed, and make it out of clay. One of the great things about Anthropology 1010 is that we have this big hands-on component. This is just as academic. They're just using different tools to learn. I think it's really important to incorporate their hands as well as their brains in learning how these artifacts are made.
Hey, any comment, anything on the video, anything regarding hands-on?
Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. What did you like? What did you not like?
What did you see?
What did you see? Say again, the prefect.
The classroom size. Anyone?
I see
Yes.
they were using clay molding with their hands, and then I've seen they use a quill, the throwing quill, and I've also seen them use the coil meter where they roll the clay, and then so I've seen that with the hands on they use 3 different methods, using the hand to mold, using the throwing quill, and then using the coil meter to mold. So as they are getting a vast, they are using maybe 3 different methods, and they can arrive at the same thing. That's what I have seen.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, sir. Albert, you want to say something? He just told me away. It's all of them.
So what I've noticed now is if you are using your hand to do something, it attracts more people to come close to you, to know the various ways you are using to arrive at the end point.
Yeah.
And I got to know that a lot of people are coming close to the woman. When the beginning she was speaking alone. Somewhere along the line, people are getting close. They want to engage themselves into it as well.
This is, I think, I chose this video because I found it extremely powerful in a context. For instance, this lady from what's the country? Mexico. She's been doing that since she was young. The chances that she didn't go to school are extremely high because she's been doing it from young. It's a lifestyle. She makes money out of it. Selling it small to survive. And then such kind of skills, they don't get to move from one generation to another. Because if that's her, maybe when she makes a tiny living, she'll get the money and send her children to school so they can do something else different compared to what she's doing. Because once you do that in a community, you don't get to value it. But someone from outside that says, come to the university, Harvard University, and teach people how to do it. For instance, we've got basket weavers in Ghana. I've never seen anybody calling them to a classroom and saying, teach our children how to weave the basket. They're the ones who put in the clothes together. We don't tend to do that. I do not know why. Maybe the value of education is. I see Mama wants to speak. Mama, you want to add on what I'm saying? Yes, please, I beg. No. But do you guys understand what I'm saying? That's why I chose this video and it's hands-on. But I'll make you talk plenty just now with your friends. I mean, the people sitting next to you, since you do not want to speak to me. Next one. Okay. Hands-on, and we're going to be discussing. We're just talking. Let's not lie. And then after some time, we'll then give tiny feedback. So we're going to do lots of this. Talk in a small groups, then do feedback. So, you saw the video, gave you ideas. Now we're asking you a question. What is hands-on or experiential learning? So you're going to be answering that. And then next one, what are the benefits of experiential learning? When your children are engaged in those kind of things, what do you think they're getting from there? We'll use the video and your classroom experience to just answer that question. Last one. What are different ways you or we can do? Hey, we have this bench there. Sorry. What are different ways we can do experiential learning in our respective classes or subjects? So if you math, how can you then go and do hands-on experiential learning of science, other subjects, languages, and stuff like that? So I'm going to give you 5 minutes. You talk small, and after this, same groups, please. Or would you like to change the people? No, just talk and then you're going to give feedback. Because there's going to be a lot of this. So your 5 minutes starts now. Please start talking.
So based on the video and your own understanding of experiential learning,
Yes,
you
please.
discuss and then you will share with us.
Okay, thank you so much. Can we quickly go from one group to another and just have somebody and answering the questions for us? Okay. So last time we started here, so you're going to start over here. Anybody responding to questions? Should we start with you? Yeah. Terrorist. Go ahead.
Experiential learning.
Right.
Based on our own,
Guys, can we please listen?
our
Based
understanding. Based on our understanding, we said it's a method of learning that involves the use of the hand
Yes.
to acquire skills through first-hand experience.
Yes, please. Okay. Then the next question.
We have one benefit here that it helps to develop skills.
Developing skills.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Last one. Please.
The last one.
Answer one
Okay,
question. Answer one
we
question.
do that through experiment.
Yeah. So which subject did you choose?
Let's say
Yeah.
science.
Science.
Yeah. Science. We find we know that there are certain topics that involve the use of the hand. And in ICT also, typing is there, the use of hand to and you acquire a skill.
Thank you so much for that. Group number 1. Anyone who wants to come? Then should we just go by the line? Can we go to this group, please?
Yeah, I define it experiential learning is acquiring knowledge from someone who have experience already that is ready to assist
Yeah.
the others to follow. Then the benefits, it helps you to acquire whatever you are learning fast, since the first hand is part or the practical aspect is there. So it helps you to acquire whatever you are learning fast.
Interesting.
Okay. Then when it comes to the last one, well, for example, maybe I'm teaching BDT.
Yeah.
That is the pre-tech aspect, which I have to involve a lot of practical work. So I can use, maybe I want to talk about what? Wood. So now what do I have to do? I have to bring pieces of wood. Let's join it together. Let's make it very get what? The kitchen stool. So
Thank you so much for that. All of these are your answers, and they are all correct. And we're going to move to the next one. With the group with the pre-tech inside.
The first one.
Yes, please.
So what is experiential learning?
Yes, please.
To us, is an act whereby the learner takes part in the activities more than the facilitator.
100%.
Then the second one, the benefits.
The benefits.
The learner becomes creative,
100%.
more creative, or skillful.
Yes, please.
And then he can easily communicate and collaborate.
Yes, please.
He can easily identify the materials being used.
Yes, please.
Then we move on to the ways that we can do it. Group work can help in terms of when we come to science, we put them in group. They can use the groupings to carry out an experiment,
Yes,
a particular topic. Then individual work, and then also project work through project works. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the benefits. If you're looking at all the 21st century skills, did I take, oh sorry, let me take part. Thank you so much, sir. You just told me to be part. So we'll talk later when we put it together.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
The first one is the process of using the hand to act. And the second one is they get stick to the practical aspects more than the oral and the material.
Yes, please.
The third one is they find it easy to remember what they did.
Thank you so much. Awesome. The group that just shouted me, now it's your turn.
Okay, experiential learning, I've seen it this way, learning by doing.
Yes.
As simple as learning by doing. Yeah. And then benefits.
Benefits, please.
Yeah. Acquire skills. You learn also how to collaborate. Collaboration comes a lot of benefits with this.
Yes.
And then different ways. One way, I'll give a practical example. I was teaching the children here entrepreneurship skills.
Yes.
So I put them in groups. So I taught them how to do batik tie-dye. So I bought the materials for them. They did it. They went, they sold it. They brought money. Another time I made them do gardening. So they cultivated cucumber. So they wanted, they harvested it and they sold it. Then they made sure they sell to teachers, parents, the proprietor, they sold and everybody. So that's exactly what I did. So that's a practical example.
Yes, please. Are you guys finished?
In addition.
Okay.
In addition.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Some of the groups they did mention the skills, which I stopped you because that's what I'm passionate about, which are soft skills, right? The benefit of experiential learning soft skills, or what we call 21st century skills, which is communication, verbal written, innovation, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, problem solving. Because when they work in groups, obviously good dynamics. There's going to be the conflicts are going to arise. Then they'll have to learn to address those conflicts. And then the other benefit is retain knowledge, right? To retain knowledge. And then lastly, that knowledge is going to become a prior knowledge. Because sometimes when you teach, some children, they can, link it to what they've experienced or what they've seen. Like, oh yeah, I remember when I went to the beach, so it becomes part of their prior knowledge.
Thank you so much. So you've touched on 21st century skills. Thank you for that. The last one, the champion group.
So the first one is an engaged learning process whereby students learn by doing.
Yes, please.
And by reflecting on their experiences. So and the benefits and knowledge and skills. By the third one.
You couldn't do the third one. No problem. Now,
so from the
yes.
last thing, it also allows students, it gives students an opportunity to fail, right? So they try and fail, try and error, right? So it's try and error. So they'll try this, doesn't work, they go back, right? They try something, as opposed to, in classroom, it's like, you teach this, you assess, you didn't get it, right?
That's it.
But with the special age, you can always go back. I think we could have done that better.
For instance, with Mr. Albert's example, if you're going to be looking at a roof and you want to build a chair of some sort, some kind, and you don't really get the way you want it to get, then you go back and say, what did I miss? Or you're planting crops. Maybe you didn't water them or whatever happened. Then you're going to go back and say, why they didn't just come out the way you wanted to. So all of this is hands-on and experiential learning. Now I'm going to ask the question again. How many of us are using this teaching strategy? Please put up your hand. Everybody. Now why did you say you're not using it at the beginning? Why? Okay, so you're going to move to the next one. The next one is my favorite. And all the children that come to my class, they just want to do this. Okay, the next one, okay, gamification. Just gamification. What comes to your head? 2 months, right? 2 months. What comes to your 2 months? When you hear the word gamification. Gamification. Anybody? Prefect. What happened? Yes, he's talking. Please go ahead.
Playing game on our machines and
the way it is, it's just playing games. It can be online game or offline games. The dancing, we spoke about quite a lot of it in Ceci's presentation. So we play games. So we download Kahoot Live? How many people managed to download Kahoot this week? Okay. So I will just
We're waiting for the code.
It's loading.
1 second. Okay.
550.
550. When it says enter, so please enter 550. 7615. We're starting. Sorry for delay. Okay. First question. It's about digital footprint, which I think is one of the good topics to learn currently since everyone is on the internet. The question is, what does your digital footprint include? So the red one, emails, you send pictures, and then the color that you think is correct on your machine, please click on it. The color that you think is correct. Is it red emails you send?
The red is for the
Click on the color. The red is for emails you send, the yellow pictures you posted, the blue, your social media account, or all of them. Click guys. Time is running out. Two people got it right, and another 2 people did not, and 2 people did not choose. They did not choose. Please make sure that you choose. After 20 seconds, you'll be out. So let's see the scoreboard. This is what children like. Papayas. You are leading. Let's see the second one. You can delete your digital footprint. Is this true or not true? Choose your card, your footprint. Whatever that you do online, you can then go back and just delete it, and it's gone.
You made it 10 seconds, you know that?
Guys, do you get the game? Yes. This one was fast, right? Yes. Now we keep. Is this fine? I'm worried about my child. Let's be sure now.
Next question.
Next question.
100% concentration.
Is digital footprint bar is a bar to have live online? Yes. And the yellow one, maybe so. Good people, my children in class. Looks like Papaya is just running away with the money.
More questions.
One more question. Should I come to you?
2 more questions.
2 more questions.
Yes.
That's what I want. The challenge has been declared. Next one. What percentage of teens have used some form of social media? What percentage of teens have used some form of social media? You think it's 23%, 48%, 75%, or 90%? Click on the color that you think is correct. Or the color that you know is correct. Examples of social media are the following, as follows. Is it red, yellow, blue, or green? Talk in your group, so. Talk in your group, so. Before this are the 2 ones. Talk in your group, so. What's this group's name again? Apple. Please come and get papaya. Nice. Some ways children can misuse social media are just the red one. It says posting inappropriate photos or videos. The yellow setting their profiles as public. Okay, which one do you think? Time is flying off. You go. Everyone is flying off.
But we are still on top.
Okay, number 7. What social media logo is this one? If you miss it, if you miss Next one. Okay, this is just a long one. Which of these social media platforms are considered inappropriate? Appropriate for children under the age of 13? And the next one you ready? Thank you so much. If you can see red is Facebook, you can see yellow is Twitter. Everybody got it right. 100% pass. You're doing well, guys. Number 9.
How much time do kids spend on entertainment media on average per day?
What do you think? If you can see the red one, it's 1 to 2 hours.
1 to 2 hours, 5 to 8 hours, 3 to 4 hours, 9 to 12 hours. How much time do kids spend on entertainment media on the average per day?
What do you guys think?
I'm of 2.
6 to 8 hours.
So kids spend 9 to 12 hours on social media on the average.
Not in Ghana.
In Ghana, how long?
9 to 12 hours.
ahead on this. Once we're doing this with children, let's say whatever topic that we're doing, and we get to this question, we stop, then we ask questions, then they ask questions, then they argue with exactly the same question. When you say nodding gun, then someone challenges them, and then there's a big conversation, there's discussion happening in the class.
So learning just through gamification.
You get to know how much they know.
Yes. Let's go about to number 10. 10 more to go.
What is the recommended maximum amount of entertainment media time per day for kids? Unlimited?
Green.
1 to 2 hours, 0 to 30 minutes,
Screen time.
Yeah. Basically,
3 to 4 hours.
on a daily basis, how much time should your child? How much time should your child spend online? 1 to 2 hours. Okay, Mr. Stanley said we must wait.
No, go ahead.
The answer is blue. Blue.
So by just looking at that, by just looking at this, our children, the recommended time for children to spend online, be it homework or playing games, just on one day is 1 to 2 hours.
So the children should not spend more than 2 hours on the screen per day.
And spending too much time on it, machine too can also affect them.
Yep.
So,
Apart from the eye, even cognitively.
so if for their own life, or you don't allow them to do whatever they think is right, but if you tell them the right thing, I think it's good.
Yep.
But if you allow them, they will need to do it.
And no,
Unlimited.
okay,
They delete this for 5 minutes.
next one.
How do apps and websites make money?
Okay.
They don't. They are here just for fun.
TikTok,
No clue. Advertising.
the TikTok, the YouTube, how do they make money? Hey, come on. How do you make? Everybody got it done. 100%.
Still on top. Alright.
Next one.
Algorithms developed by software engineers track everything you click on, follow, like, or even pause to look at. True or false?
Guys, I need you to be talking in your groups. No groups or talk. And I know you need to whisper so they shouldn't get your answer right.
I know.
Hey, you guys go over celebrated.
It's like you have a question there.
It's a question.
So,
This question, that is
5 seconds left, so let's keep this one. Okay, so that one, so it was actually about how much money does average social media website make in a year. We're looking at 19 billion. Hey, they're making money.
Billion of currency. Euro, pounds, dollars.
Okay, next one. Stand is yours.
Who should you add online? Everyone you know, even the creepy neighbor, people you trust and know in person, or your parents have approved, the most popular kids at school, the mailman you met yesterday.
Okay, and yellow's correct. 4 people got it right. So let's move to the next one. Okay, 5 more to go.
More than -% of kids have experienced cyber bullying. 50%, 75%, 15%, 20%. What percentage of kids have experienced cyberbullying?
Okay. Four more to go. Number 16.
If you see a meme post about someone on social media, what should you do? Ignore it, report it, and don't join it in. Say something mean back. Never use that website again.
Which one is me? 3 more to go.
Who did the sound?
How should you treat people online? How should you treat people online?
Like you want them to be treated like they are your best friend, like they are your mortal enemy, like you are a wizard.
Guys, talk goals. Madam Susan. Yes. Number 18.
Why is digital citizenship important? It makes you unknown to people on the internet. It helps keep the internet safe and fast. It's not. This is a trick question.
Blue. 1 second.
I said out.
Last.
What should you not share online? Your password, your birthday, your house address, all of the above.
Terrorist is complaining.
Alright, 7 answers. 100%. Alright, so the last question. In a typical social media account, where can you set your privacy options? 1. In the settings menu at any time. In the pop-up menu when you upload something. In your news feed only when you create the account.
This is the last question.
Oh.
Last question. Podium, this is why I have children jumping up and down and Sam, well done. Second final goal. The spotlight is on Papaya. 3 minutes you've been talking your please. So we're going to ask for feedback. And we started over there. You guys want to start again? Or you want the last people to start?
We want to start again.
You want to start again? Awesome. Thank you so much. Please go ahead. Who's talking?
Okay, we feel fantastic and excited. So the benefit is critical thinking and then smartness. Then the third one,
yes.
We introduce
Thank you so much, Albert. Your group feedback, please.
First one, we feel so much excited. Second one,
and then sorry, excited. Why? I didn't add that one. Please, somebody edit when you respond. Why are you so excited?
I'm excited because it's full of fun and it's so much we involve ourselves into.
Thank you. Then the next question.
2, it boosts our critical thinking abilities. And then the third one, by involving a lot of games in our lesson delivery. I'm done.
I think the last question most people didn't understand it properly. Or maybe my writing is not good. So I wanted what I was asking here was to say, in your different subjects, in your different lessons, how do you use play to learn? I know the previous one, that you guys gave examples that you make them sing whilst they're learning, and so I was looking for kind of examples like that. Like in my science, how do I include games? In my English, how do I include games? In my French, how do I include games? Okay. So I was looking at that.
Now,
So again, it comes back to CZ's presentation. That when you are a teacher standing in front of your children, and you don't explain properly, you're not going to get what you want. So I think, forgive me. Can we go to the next one? Okay, the third one, please.
It makes us happy and active.
Yes, please.
And to play and learn.
Yes, please.
And then it helps us think critically. And then it also makes us very fast. And then it also helps us to be able to communicate and then collaborate.
Yes.
Then the third one, that's through competition. And then through activities.
Yes.
Through recitals. And then through quiz competition.
Thank you so much. Guys, are we okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. They are the first group to answer the last question. And we come to the lovely ladies. What's your take?
So good and enjoyable.
Yes, please.
And the second one is we learn a lot, play the game. And the third one is by helping them to educative game like puzzles and work across quiz.
Thank you so much. And then this group, it's your turn to respond. Okay, let somebody talking, please listen.
Okay, I feel so happy.
Happy?
Yeah, it makes me feel so responsible.
I can see you.
I see myself doing it,
yeah.
and at the end, I can see that I can do it.
Yes.
No, it gives me joy.
Uh-huh.
Then number two, the benefit, as a child in the class, the child is learning at the same time is playing. So it makes the child not to feel bored. So the subject, no matter how the subject looks like, so you will not even, the child not even know when he's going along with the subject because he's not bored, he's enjoying it, and he will learn
Madam, last one. I'm going to start deducting the points from you. Yeah.
So because I know how good it is to learn and the same, you learn at the same time you play along.
Yes.
And I always make sure that I involve my children because I like it. So I will know what to do. I will make sure that as I'm teaching the child, I will bring the things that can help them to learn the subject. I will always make sure that they learn along and play. All the time.
Welcome to our class. I'm here.
Okay, and they
Okay.
want to add.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Like I said, I have a problem. I have verbal diarrhea, so something I just yes, I'll try this. So I just want to share my experience. I've been using Kahoot. I've been using Kahoot since 2018. So Kahoot is not only restricted or limited to the ITC class. You use it across all the learning areas. So I use Kahoot for pre and post assessment. So if I want to gauge the knowledge of my students about a certain topic, I use Kahoot. And from this information, this will guide me in playing and say, okay, my students, they know this. It seems like they don't know this. So the information that it will give you, I think at the end, it will show us like a report, yes, right? Like a very detailed report. And then I use that to say, okay, maybe it's in math, they're struggling with mental math. That is going to be my focus. So, okay, that was it. And now I just want to demonstrate like how I make children play and learn in my lesson. So I'm going to ask about 3 volunteers please to come.
I think she should come.
Okay, please come. And then he's coming. Madam, are you coming? Are you coming? So now this is a literacy lesson, right? So we are writing, story writing. And we know that our children, when it comes to creative writing, they struggle, right? They struggle when it comes to that. So now I'm going to do my lesson in a, he spoke of play-based, right? A play-based lesson. So now, we're going to write a story. But now, we are only going to focus on, let's say we're using a story map or story mountain. So we're only going to focus on the first one, which is the background. So where we're going to just introduce the character and the setting. So in our writing piece, we need to use adjectives, right? Is it adjectives? They describe, right? Yeah. English teachers, please. So we're going to describe or introduce our character, right? So now I'm going to throw the ball, and then when you catch the ball, you have to complete or finish off where the last person, whatever the last person said. You just need to continue the story. Thank you very much. So now the title of our story is The Girl in a Purple Dress, right? So the title, The Girl in a Purple Dress. Now I throw to you, once upon a time. No, you say. So you said once upon a time in a village there was a girl, right? And then you continue, and then you continue.
She lived with her mom.
So we're trying to connect. We are writing stories. Yes. So let me start. So the title is The Girl in a Purple Dress. So how do you start a story?
So throw it to her.
I was a girl in a purple dress.
She always liked to eat cake.
Okay, but I think, you know, so, but remember I said we are introducing the character. So now you went into the details. Now we are describing her, right? Okay, she was short, she did it. So the setting and then the character. Let's just focus on the setting and the character, right? So the girl in a purple dress. Once upon a time, yes.
As a girl
in a village,
very short, always wear.
Maybe her face, her eyes, we are describing her, right? So we're giving the reader, remember, we use adjectives to, we want the reader to get what? To get an idea of the character. Okay. So let me start. So figure out. So once upon a time, not once upon a time, the girl in a purple dress.
Once upon it.
The girl in a purple dress in a village, very tall and fair, like smiling all the time.
She has a round face, small ears.
Okay, thank you, but I think you have an idea. So you go on and on and on and on. Children are having fun, they are playing, it's play-based.
Great.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Let's finish this, we'll come back to you. Can we have the last group, please? Your responses?
Okay, so the first one is feel excited.
Yes.
Because after eating the banquet, the fufu, when you came to the class, you were feeling down. So after playing the game, you had some yes. And the two is it makes the kids smart. Yes. And the third one is communication and identification.
Thank you so much. Okay, anybody wants to add? I know that you had something.
The games they are playing right now.
Yes.
Now we can also transfer that to the mathematics class.
Yes.
Maybe you want to talk about what is odd number. So you write it on the board. So you ask them what is odd number. So they will start. So math teacher, now what is odd number?
Odd numbers are numbers that cannot be divided by 2.
By 2?
Yes.
Okay, you have that, you say yes. So you bring 2 people forward or 3. So if I pick a number, then I throw the ball to you. The next number, you have to mention it. Or you can also use even numbers or counting numbers, starting from what? 0 or 1 up to infinity.
Skip counting.
Skip counting, so you can also do the same thing. So you throw the ball, the next person, you have to give another number, then throw it to the next person. So whoever that loses the number, you are out of the game. So you can also transfer down to the mathematics.
Now my second last question before we move. Now we are here in Henry School, and then some of you are saying in your minds, you coming and you're showing us all these lovely things, and we do not have enough computers to do that. We do not have enough phones. The internet is not good. Then some people just put those excuses right in front of us themselves and step back and say, we cannot do that, we cannot play in our classes because we are here in home and we don't have resources. Now after this, considering your space and your classes, I know you have a picture, I do not have a full picture of your space. How can you use gamification in your classroom with resources that you have? Can we get responses, please? Because if we come in here and we show you all of this and then we leave, then you don't have resources, then it means what we came here to do is just So how do we, with our context, with a space that we're in, going to apply this? I know some of you are doing it already. There was a hand and someone wanted to speak there. We're expecting quite a lot of you guys to respond. Mr. Albert, please go ahead.
Okay. First of all, let me just break it down to the simplest way. Maybe after you doing this, I want to go and do the practical aspect.
Yes.
I want to write the lab, light out. If the children are there, they want to know what is happening. Now we are talking about how to control mouse skills. Now the mouse is there, but you need power.
Yes.
The power is not there. So what do you have to do? Quickly. And teachers are always what? Like artists. You have to add something creative. So I'll pick the mouse. This a computer mouse. You know that they say yes. Okay, now we don't have light. This is what we are going to do now. We have these two fingers that you can use to operate the mouse. Now, raise the two fingers and let me see. They all do this. Now watch me. We have this and that. This and that. Do it and let me see. They also do the same thing. Now what is the meaning of this and that? You ask them. They will say, someone will say that moving. Or the other way around. Just accept it. Don't doubt, just accept it because you know what they can say. After that, you said, if I do this one shows the direction of what? The left. And this one is at what? The right. And then on the mouse, you have what? The left click and then the right click. So if I do this, it means what? Left click. And this is right click. Do you get that? They say yes. Okay. Now, watch. If I do this, you tell me what click did I do. So you did it, they said click or left click. Click. Left click. You can continue doing it. Remove the right one. Some will say click again. But those who are smart will say what? Right click. So we're doing it until all of them get to know that we have left and then the right click. That is the practical aspect. Then after that, you put your hand on the mouse. Let them produce the sound in which you are doing. So when they press and then they hear K, that's what? Click. You click here, you also hear what? K again. Then you were able to differentiate that. You have what? Double clicking. So if you get kick, it's what? Double. So that when I say that anytime I have to click is click. They need also to know that there's double click and then right click as well. So you can also use that method if there is not like the computer system. You can also use the practical by the hand. You can also transfer that one to the keyboard as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Sometimes relating to science, sometimes you can improvise.
Yes, please.
That's improvisation.
That's the word.
Yeah. Getting the resources around us, putting it into different shapes depending on the subject or the topic you are treating. Sometimes, let's say you want to do reactivity of metals.
Yes.
Reactivity of metals. It will be difficult for you to go in to get hydrochloric acid, so you can quickly go into using vinegar.
Yes.
Vinegar. Then to try put them into various groups because you don't have enough. So you put them into various groups. Then you go around. After everything, you write their findings and place it on the table. They are going to leave where they are. They go round, they form a circle, move round. Whatever you have there, your friend will come and look at it and write a report about what is on the table. Go to the next table, you write a report, you write something about what, or the, how they call it, the experiment is all about. You do it that way, within the 5 minutes you are done. Then you come back. This group will read what they've seen wrong with this experiment. The next one also come in. The next group will also come in. So that you draw your conclusion. That is how I go.
Thank you so much. Any other person to add? Okay, then my last question. How many of us are using gamification in their classroom? If it's you, please put up your hand. And we have one. All of us are using games to teach in our classes. Or should I ask the question again? Okay, I will. How many of us are using games as a learning or teaching strategy in our classrooms? Put up your hand if it's you. Then we move forward. Don't be shy. Okay. I don't okay, so
you've already asked.
I didn't put this one, but I've asked it. Okay. The hand just went up. Do you want to say something? Okay, function based. I tried to write a story when I did the presentation. So my story writing skills is for those ones here. They're not on par. So, but I did write the story. So this is a function-based strategy. You will see just now. So the function-based strategy, we use it in math. For instance, there's always problem in math that children are solving. They need to go through it and then read and understand the story. And then be able to do the multiplications and science, same thing. I think languages, I'm not sure, but yeah.
Comprehension.
There's comprehension.
Yeah.
So across board, there's story. So here's my story, which I wrote, and I gave it all. And I gave it all, and it's my best. Okay, so here's my story, 3-line story. So this one is it's a problem. Then later on we'll answer the question. Okay, a teacher has an overcrowded classroom, about 70 students. No lie. That's a congregation classroom. And she's shouting to make sure that all the students in the classroom, especially in the back, can hear her well. And that's where it ended. But I wanted to add, because I struggled with spelling, so I didn't add. So I wanted to say, after a day of shouting and trying to teach her children, she had sore throat, her voice was hoarse, and I should have just write one full page. I doubted myself, but this is my best. Okay, so this is the problem. And then now I want you guys to use these questions. Okay, you are going to analyze the scene. You're going to identify tools that she can use to solve the problems in her class so she can continue teaching. When you, the tools, let's say if you're going to say lights, what's the function of the light? And you're going to provide a solution. Looks like I'm saying the same things. Okay, so you're going to analyze the story, read and understand it. The second one, what tools can she use to solve her problem? And you write the function of each tool. And then how is she going to solve that problem? That's the same question. Is that the same question?
I think it's the order. So you identify the solution,
yes,
and then you identify the tools that will be used in implementing the solution, as well as the functions of the tools. So it's not the same question, it's just the
order is. You see how much we need each other. So I need you to do that. Okay, and then the next one, this is more like the real classroom. Okay, draw and mention the function of each tool. So you're going to go, I said function.
Yeah.
So you just identify After identifying it, please draw it and say what it does. Okay, and then the extension one, you're not going to do it for, you can edit for now. Extension, add this stage to look at the history, the types, and so I'm going to go back to the question, to the story. So you analyze it, identify, you provide solution, you draw and the function of each, and then if you have extension, but how are you going to add extension activity as research? Is it clear? Do you understand? Can someone explain, like, person you understand? If you do understand this activity, can you please just explain it to everybody? Because at the moment I'm nervous. You want to explain it?
Yes.
Okay.
So the first question, we should analyze the scene. Like, looking at the crowd, how is this going done? Being on a row, 70, according to the story.
Yes.
So if in a row, 70, let's talk about the next row, to the back. So looking at that, how can you shout to get to the back, those who are at the back, for you to hear your voice? So it's going to be very tough. It's a very hard task. Yes, that's what you have to analyze. Yeah, the ways and the means. Then the second one, the tool over here.
Let's say technology tools.
Yes.
So, technology tools, thank you.
Now you can also use a projector as what we are doing right now. Fixed with what? Microphone. So there should be a horn at the corner of the structure. So that you standing there, you will not shout, but those at the back will be able to hear from the horn. So the projector is presenting whatever you are doing, presentation on the wall, which is very big. Those who are at the back can see it. Then the sound too, those who are at the back can also hear it from the horn, or the speakers at the back. Yes, so that's the technology too. Then, yes, it's also like, that's the provider solution.
Just provide solution.
Yes, so I've used one stone to kill two birds at once.
It's actually 3 birds. You've identified the tools,
yes,
given their functions.
Yes, yes. So now, how to draw it? So whatever you have decided to use to help the student, you have to draw it. Is that not it?
Can you say how it works? Do we now understand? Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Can we just say, can we have 10 minutes to do that, and then you stick it here or no? So there's no talking for this one. Write plenty, draw plenty, then you're going to stack it right here or no?
If you need more people, let us know. They kind of like take ownership of their learning. Not you, the teacher, school, feeding them with the information, but they find, especially the aspect that you have to do the extended task, where you research into the history, the types, and all those things. You challenge the students. So, especially for those who are maybe high achievers, right? Who easily get bored, you give them questions, and within 5 minutes, they are done. Okay? They will be challenged a bit more to go further, to research and find out the history, the types and whatever of the tools and materials that would have been identified from the narrative. That's what I think.
In addition to that, you know, when I look at that, it makes me think of Bloom's taxonomy. You know, the order of asking, you know. So you can see it goes from low order to high order questions, you know, and based on what you said, that you know they're going to create, they're going to event, also the authenticity, you know, they're going to come up with their own things, you know.
So some level of originality.
Exactly.
The
So
drawing is going to be.
this is comprehensive. This is comprehensive.
He mentioned Bloom's taxonomy. Have we all heard or read about it? Okay, so maybe I'll send you a link.
Don't send a link to. In here, there's Bloom's taxonomy.
Okay.
We're gonna have a look at it.
Okay.
And when we're talking about assessments, remember one of the strategies, assessment as teaching strategy. So we look at it, and some things I'm just gonna run, and some things I'm going to allow us to spend time.
Well, we'll share the slides, so
we'll share the slide because I see it's going. Okay. So assessment. Okay. So quickly assessments, and everybody's using assessments to assess what they taught in their classrooms. So assessment needs to be detailed to say what is required of each child. And there needs to be transparency. How are you going to mark your children? Let's say for instance, science, and then you're doing an experiment. You want children to show whatever that you want them to show. Explain to them that when I'm marking, I'll be looking at this. Don't do it later on after they've submitted and you say, no, actually I wanted you to do this. Same goes to the languages when they're writing the story. So when you write your story, I want you to use adjectives. I want your story to be imaginary. Then you're going to put it in a rubric. Rubric actually takes time. I'll plan that way to do it, but I'll send a video. I got one video on YouTube. I've got YouTube channel. I need you guys to subscribe to YouTube channel. There's a lot of teaching and learning materials that I upload in there, and maybe you will love it. Maybe, but I think you will love it. I'm being biased because it's mine. So the validity and reliability. Is it valid? Are you assessing things that you taught, or you assessing things that you think your children should know? Is it reliable? All of those, that's what assessment should be looking at. And then when you're doing a rubric, which we were going to do today, then you'll be looking at the children then are able to say when you mark our work, we want you to also add on 1, 2, for instance, when we do the presentation in my class, then the children will say, we want you to mark the decorations, because they love decorating. When they're writing story, we want you to mark our drawings, so they can get marks from there. Some people got different strength in the classroom. So those that are good with drawing, but they're not good with writing, then they will get marks. So once you're using that, there's no child that will get 0, because you'll be accommodating their different abilities. And the other one about self-assessment, you can then, before your children submit work, you'll say, okay, change your work, and then let your friend mark your work. And when you do that, you give them the rubric that you created in your classroom and say, look at your friend's work based on this. Friendship doesn't count. If it's not right, it's not right. Just write it there and give them feedback. Then you'll see that massive improvement when you do that. They will be able now to see that, no, I missed this, oh, I missed this. Then they edit. When it comes to you, you'll see your children's work beautifully, because it's been corrected already. And what to assess, is it fair, is it very well, I spoke about it. Do you assess what you want? Is it diverse? I spoke about children's different abilities. Okay, next one. Then Bloom's taxonomy. We're going to do this. No, we're not. Okay, so some of us, some of us, I'll say, okay, and so Bloom's taxonomy. For instance, this is actually great. Before I was introduced to Bloom's taxonomy, I was introduced to Bloom's taxonomy at university. But you know, once you get to You know, once you leave university and you come to the real workspace, a whole lot of things that we did at university, they just stay there. And then when we come here, we do things and you wonder what's happening. So I got reintroduced to Bloom's taxonomy while doing moderator course. And we looked at a whole lot of assessment and how to do assessment. So my problem was, with the children that I had, 25 of them, when I give them assessment, be it classwork, test, all of them in the classroom, they get full marks. And I knew that there was 1-2 children that cannot or should not get full marks because they just studied. Then I realized later, you see at Bloom's taxonomy, like there's the lower order thinking skills, there's a high order thinking skills, the difficult ones. So what I used to do when I created my questions was to focus on these two. I asked question, what is the name of whatever, whatever? Where was this person born? Like basic question. So just to remember and recall that wanted your understanding. So I would have those kind of questions and then such, whole lot of them were able to answer. Then I did not have any of this. So I didn't give children like analyze. I didn't give them a story to look at it, to analyze it, break it down. Then after analyzing it and respond to the questions or do something extra. Let's say you give them like what we just did now, the previous one. I gave you a story. Then I've asked you guys to analyze, like understanding when you look at that story, the bottom part, you understand what's happening in the story. So a few questions will be around here. And about 50-60% of a few questions will be around here. So your children can be able to answer. And from here going up, those are the difficult thinking, thinking what? Yes. So I've asked you to look at that and then create this. Or you can then write a story. Or you can then, now I'm looking at creating, you can then create a model. You can then do something, prototype, something extended, something challenging, something difficult. Then once your questions, I wish we had more time to be looking at that. Because I'm trying to rush and I'm talking and I don't hear myself properly.
I have an example.
I'm struggling.
I have an example.
Yes, please. Somebody go ahead.
Just, you know when you, after teaching, right, and you have to do your continuous assessment, your class test, or end of term exams, or even you prepare the students for BEC, okay, the questions that the students sit for in BEC can be categorized under one of these.
Yeah.
Okay. There are questions that require them to recall, to remember, right? There are questions that tries to test their understanding of the concept. So you tweak the whole, you frame the question in a manner that will require them to think, and then if critically, and then if they understand it to a certain level, they will be able to get the answer, right? Then the next one is application. So he talked about story problems for the mathematicians, right?
Yes.
So you need to be able to apply what you know to be able to find the solution or the answer to that particular question. In that order, then you analyze, you evaluate, and then you create, right? Where you can say design something, explain something. As teachers, we are normally and usually biased towards, and then maybe slightly here. These levels, right, require some level of thorough preparation and thinking on the part of the teacher to be able to design these kinds of questions. But again, the more you are able to get the students to be able to, you assess them with questions that fall under these categories, then they are able to develop what we call the higher order thinking skills and abilities. And here, immediately they get here, irrespective of where they find themselves, the circumstances under which they need to think, right, and resolve a particular problem, they'll be able to recall and appreciate and understand that this is how to do. And that is where we all want the kids to get to. Just like the children who did the technical skills students who did the chairs, right? They created, they have, am I right?
Yes, they okay.
The tie and dye, entrepreneurship. You are doing entrepreneurship, but in actual fact, they got there. And usually we get very theoretical as schools, and we don't get the kids to get there. But that is where we're supposed to be getting them to. I don't know if
now I see people know it. then the slide at the end of the time. Do you want to come in? You okay?
Any questions, any comments, examples? You can even give us an example. So as headmaster, I don't know if you evaluate or you moderate the questions that your teachers set before they are. I'm assuming the assistant headmasters will do that, right? Some schools have what they call the exams unit.
Yeah.
So all teachers have up to a certain date to submit their questions for moderation. So they check, they have per policy, there needs to be 10% recall, or 5% recall, 10% understanding. There needs to be application about 15%. There needs to be some analyzing questions about 20%, creating maybe 5 or 10%. So that person will moderate and check to ensure that the questions that you put together to test the kids' understanding of their learning throughout the period follows this.
They know it.
We do that.
They know it.
I do it. And I have an examination committee. So I give to them some questions. So look at this for me, check it, and then they make corrections.
So it's the technology that you weren't sure about, and you do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna come back on your question paper. The terminologies that you'll be looking at, like for instance, if you want to know that there's a lot of remembering questions, if your questions have defined, then you know it's remember. Like understanding, classify, describe. You want them to show their understanding. Apply. If words like implement, solve. When you want them to solve problem, then you are applying. Analyze. What is the difference between A and B? So you want them to look at those and closely and then tell the difference. So they analyze it. Evaluate. Evaluate, that's where they're going to judge. They're going to make an argument. Like judge to tell, let's say an argument would be
let's say doctors and nurses or teachers, right? Who serves the society better?
Then they will judge.
Then they have to judge, right? You analyze from a doctor's perspective, you analyze from a teacher's perspective, then you do your conclusion.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Then the last one, that's when you're going to ask them to design. When you ask them, say, design, create, whatever, then you're asking them this. So when you get to have a look at your exam questions, just go through, look at the terminations that you're using to ask your questions. Then they'll give you this triangle, Bloom's taxonomy. You wanted to say something, and then you also wanted to say something. Do you still want to say something? You're thinking about it. While she's thinking, Susie.
Standing just a bit on it, because I wanted to say, in the government schools in South Africa, we have exam guidelines. So when you set your exam, actually test paper, any format summative assessment, you need to follow this. So they give you an outline that your understanding, your low order, it needs to account a certain percentage, your middle order, and then your high order. And then Kgomotso, I also just wanted to mention and also share my experience with play-based learning. So if you do a lot of play-based learning, that you are going to challenge your students, and your students are going to be able to do the very last one where they create. So if I can give an example, I was teaching my year course, recent years in science, and they had to build a model. And one of my students used Legos. Legos is a very great tool. You can use it across all the learning areas, in language, in math, in science. I'm not sure about ITC.
Everywhere.
You can use Legos.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Mr. Ahmed, you want to jump in?
I would like to add to group development.
Yes.
In technical skills, we have one particular topic known as identification of problem. So the first question over there is the difference between a solution and a problem. So now, they will now put a question before you. Example, Mr. Mensah always pack blocks and climb on it before painting a structure. This makes him fall at times. They end it there. That they ask you to analyze, to write a design brief. So the analysis, you have to analyze the whole thing. Then you have to create as well. So the design brief is what you intend to do to solve the problem. Then the create is, now you are going to draw what you intend. Now that you are not giving materials to do it, but you have to draw like what you just did. So I think we are using it by just that. You don't know that that's how it is.
There's a name for it.
Yes. Yes.
So should I attempt to answer that problem where Mr. Mensah probably used the wrong tool?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
To do his job.
Yes.
And that is why he was falling.
Yes.
Therefore, he's supposed to be using a ladder.
Yes.
So the ladder is the solution. And I need to draw a ladder.
A ladder, and the problem is solved. So they put the question in a very critical thinking way that if you don't say the exam, nobody there.
So majority of your questions as a teacher should follow that pattern.
Yes.
Because that is what will get the kids up to that level, and they will give you the grades. Because I know we are only interested in the grades, maybe so. However, in actual fact, it's not the grades, but they will then become lifelong learners, right? And to be able to make a difference as they move along in their education, in the education space, and even out there in society.
Okay, are we happy?
Yes.
Can we move forward?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to create rubric. So we're gonna pass our one multimodality. Okay, so multimodality. This is simply using different materials to make sure that children understand. So multimodal, multi-resources. So if you, for instance, the language teachers, you're reading a book, maybe Sophia the first book, or maybe what's the one, Anansi story. Okay, Anansi story. You can use first material. You can use a book to read with them. You can then show them a video. You can ask them to create parts of the story, and then you ask them to describe, like to create tiny story from the story, like focus on just one piece of the story, and then create a story from it, and then use a lot of different tools to teach whatever concept that you teach, and that's multimodality.
So in inclusive education, we say that it's multi-sensory. So thank you very much.
Multimodality, multi-sensory.
That is accommodation. That is also about the adaptation, not about adaptation.
So you're just diversifying your resources. Instead of just coming and say, I'm going to give you all papers and then let's read from the story and then that's it. You then say, okay, some people love reading, some people love touching the paper, some people love watching, looking at things, some people love listening. Then you play them you read to them or you play them an audio from what story. Just to expose them to a lot and accommodate your children. Instead of having this only 3-4 children passing and then this one not doing so well, then you accommodate all of them and all your children will be doing well. Are we happy with that one? Thank you so much. Okay, multimodality. I would like you guys to look at these questions and answer them, please. Just talking 3 minutes. No, 2 minutes. Okay, why is feedback important? What are the benefits of feedback? How are you currently giving feedback in your classes? So we're looking at feedback. So this is the next one. Strategy, feedback. Okay, please.
On assessment?
Feedback as strategy, teaching strategy. So we're using feedback as teaching strategy. What is feedback? What are the benefits? And how are you using feedback in your classes? Is it one-on-one? Are you writing to them? Are you guiding them? How are you doing it? Okay. Please go ahead.
Feedback enables both the teacher and the learner to assess and evaluate themselves.
Yes.
In other words, to know how best they are doing. The teacher knows how far the students are absorbing, and the student also know how far they are learning.
Yes.
And then it is done through doing assessment and marking, then you award marks. That is how currently I know we do feedback or we give feedback. Or sometimes you got a group to tell them this is how far you are coming.
Awesome. You want to get Can we please listen to the speaker?
What they've learned, they can bring you what's.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much. Next group, please. Can you, or should I skip them or come back later? The prefects group.
The first one.
Yes, please.
That's it. Test the understanding of the
yes,
the learners. And see where you as a facilitator you got into.
Yes.
Topic you are.
Yes. Guys, he's saying a whole lot of correct things. Please listen. Mr. Albert.
Yeah. And then the last one.
The two is combined.
So the last one, that's by giving them in between assessments.
Yes.
Giving them question during the lesson.
Yes.
Yeah, and then also assessing them after the lesson. We also have one at the beginning of the lesson. These are in the form of assessment given to them and hoping to get a response from the learners as a feedback.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Can you guys go ahead? Answer the 2 questions. Who's going? Should I skip or come back to you? Okay, please go ahead.
You said that feedback informs progress or regress.
Yes.
Just like you said. So the teacher will be able to know if the student are learning, and then the student will also be exhibiting or showing their learning and understanding.
Yeah.
And then how are you currently giving feedback in your class? So I said it varies, whole class, group, one-on-one. So sometimes if the students, you can see that they did not grasp the concept. So you want to give feedback to the whole class and say, okay, this topic you guys didn't do well, right? And surely try to find out from them what exactly did they struggle with. Sometimes it's just a certain group, so you call them aside and have that conversation with them.
Yes.
You know, and sometimes it's one-on-one. You know, Mostly I put verbal, verbal. But when it comes to, it varies the subject. When it comes to creative writing, after they've written, then I'll give them some, I'll write something.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Let's do.
Okay, so feedback is important because you have to know how the children are performing. That's, you ask them question when they are able to answer, then you know that, oh, what I've got, maybe the kids do understand.
Thank you so much. So guys, with feedback, I know you're using it and I know you're doing great. Slightly, maybe something that I just need to drop onto what you have already is sometimes, often we teachers, we're using feedback for just assessment. To say we did this test and the child got 20 out of 20 or 10 out of 20, then that's when you give feedback. That's what most of us teachers are doing. But feedback is on day-to-day basis. For instance, when you guys came in, I say, you are quiet, what's happening? So that's feedback. I'm telling him there's a change in your mood, there's change in you. Please talk to me, what's happening? Then he said he had too much food. Then I understood. So that's feedback, and again, it's one-on-one, it's conversation. Sometimes feedback, you have to have the 1 hour lesson just giving feedback to your children. I know most of us, we just running to complete the curriculum. But if you just running to complete the curriculum with your children, and your children, they don't understand what you're saying, and don't get feedback on their progress, then they will just do what they do every day. Once you ask them questions, once you engage with them, then you'll get to challenge them to move slightly to the next step. For instance, in the previous presentation, you guys spoke about that one child who's very, very, very clever. They just do work for 5 minutes and then they sit and they do nothing. If you have that child and you have a conversation with him or her, then you are able to inspire, encourage him or her to then do other things, to explore and just be open to lifelong learning. So think about it. I have a video too on YouTube. Please subscribe. It's good. Of course, it's mine. It's good. Okay. So are we happy with this one? Any questions? Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
As a feedback to you, also you being a teacher, once in a while you can ask the student, take a piece of paper. What did I do in the class that you don't like?
Aha.
So write it, but don't write your name. Present it to me. Then after you reading this, you'll be able to know that maybe a previous lesson, you're in a haste, or you're rushing too much, you didn't get anything. The next time you come to the class, you will be able to come down a bit to their level. And some will also say something very trash, but I shouldn't take that one as, because they are also helping you, also helping them. Yeah. So you shouldn't be on the lesson alone, but asking them a question or giving them task on you will also help you to get the feedback.
Yeah, that's true. And then this one, it's on another level of feedback. And if you prepare to do this one, you should do it. But the feedback that you're going to get, it will make you ask yourself questions. So I did it, and I'm teaching class 5 and 6. So the 6s, the class 5, the 6s that I'm teaching now, they then said, when you were teaching us in class 5, you were a happy teacher. Now you are not. What happened? And I had to go back and look at myself and like, hey, what changed my feeling in the class? And then about 50% of children said that. And when there's a lot of them saying it, then it means it's serious. So that is very great. And children know and they can say exactly the same way. But because of they sometimes scared, they don't say it. But there's that 1-2 children who come and tell it to you straight. But if you say right and don't write your name on it, we'll get our feedback. Anybody?
Yeah,
yes.
What I used to do that and I named it Who Am I?
Yep.
So I come to the class, Who am I? I want to educate them on how to handle it. So
yes.
After that, they come one after the other. the child you come for, who am I? So your colleagues will talk to you. Oh, you are too rowdy, you are too this, that.
Too serious.
So you write it down, pick those that you feel is correct about you, then check yourself. We do that. So the children, I start first with myself. Who am I? Then let them tell me, or write it. Then after that, we do for the children as well. So what you say is also good, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Any other person to add? Okay. Every time when I look at you, you look like you want to say something. But when I say speak, say you don't speak. I wonder why.
It's a habitual life. It's a habitual life.
It's like something
Someone is watching you if you are
This student is not concentrating in class. That's why it's not bring food to school.
Okay. So those are the tips. Those are the tips I will share, and you'll read for yourself later on. But all of them is what you said, and I just want you to add on top. And you be specific. You get the conversation with the child. You focus on the performance. This one I need to say it again and again. You focus on the child's performance, not the personality. For instance, some of us, and I'm guilty of it, because we all make mistakes and we learn from them. I would say, Jandu, you didn't get full marks because you don't listen in class. That's why you failed that science paper. So I'm not saying anything about his marks and where he went wrong. I'm just focusing on what he's doing in the classroom, which is personality. Because Jandu likes talking too much in the classroom. That's one biggest mistake that most of us teachers do. You're not saying, Jandu, I see your train of thoughts when you're writing that story or when you're creating that model. If you could do this, what do you think will happen? So you based on the performance so you can move up. You're not saying, Jandu, your personality, blah, blah, stops from doing that. Do you guys understand? And you're having a conversation, and there's you're gonna have a conversation with the child, like as I had a conversation with the prefect, then he then responded. And last one that I want to explain. So this beggar method, I think it's actually nice, and maybe something that you guys like to take. So there's the beggar. So let me do the bottom part. So with all the nice things inside, the pepper, the lettuce, the meat, whatever you want to add inside. So, okay. So the way Vega is, so when you give the child feedback, because it needs to be balanced. You cannot just tell the child the wrong things that they do. Tell them the right, the wrong, and how to improve those. So you will then say all good things. Because tasty, like that meat is nice. So all the nice things, the good things, the tasty things that they do. Okay. And then all the bad things that they do, or the wrongs that they did on the activity or based on whatever, context will be very important. Then here, how to improve it. So it's at the top, how to improve whatever. You guys get it? So your feedback, when you give your child in the classroom feedback, tell them, if it's on the task, what did they do good in that task? What is good about it? And what is not so good in that task? So that's the bottom part. Then the top part, what can they do to improve the bad part? To get their work nicely. And once you start, something like when you're writing the reports for your children. When you start, give them nice things first. They love it. We all want to be told that we're doing good. If you guys come to me after this presentation, you say, KG, that was great. You'll see I'll be working like this. I'll be happy. Yes. Because all of us want good things. But if you just say, oh, KG, you just wasted our 2 hours. What were you trying to do, child? And next time, come prepared. What do you think is going to happen to me? I'll be going here home with my heart in 100 pieces. So when you give feedback, when you give me feedback at the end, please balance it, be nice. Tell me the good things that I did, the bad things, and now I can improve. Are we here for the beggar method?
Yeah, and I sort of, in addition to that, I also use the same thing when I give feedback. Start with what the child has done well, going to what they didn't do, and then how to improve. Also, when you mention what he said, bad things or what choice of word is very important. So you don't want a student to feel that they're incapable. Yes, please, yes, thank you very much. So if we use a word, but children, we know that as teachers, what we say or what you write can make or break a child. It can make or break a child. To this day, I still remember what my English teacher told me. And I matriculated, you guys say graduate. I graduated so many years ago, 2005, but I still remember vividly the words that man uttered about my performance. It lasted with me, even when I see it, when I look at it, I still recall it. So it's very fundamental or pivotal that choice of words. We choose the right words to say, okay, you know what, you could have done that, you need to do that, instead of saying,
this is rubbish.
Exactly, I wasted my time reading. Even if, the story is not coherent, it doesn't make sense. Just say, thank you very much for, writing this, thank you very much. However, I think you are capable of writing, and then you need to do please 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Thank you so much. Any other person? Or should I move forward? I see people are nosing. Once you do like this, I get heavy.
Are you sure they are not losing? Maybe they are losing.
Then this one specifically is for Mr. Albert and for our children. Okay, coding, programming, and what is programming? Programming actually is just to control the computer. That's it. You tell it what to do, how to think, because you're the boss. And then there's programs you can use Scratch for the little ones. This one you can download and use it offline. And then there's online. That's also nice for the class 4s to 6s. And this one is a whole school on it. So if you're looking for science materials, history, ICT, whatever subject, Khan Academy, it's lovely. You will love it. Go in there, Google it, Khan Academy. It's for free. Get things from there, download them, and have fun with your children. And I'm moving. Oh, then there's Kojo. This is game-based. It's actually nice. Go home, and then you can give it to a child. They play games and they're learning coding at the same time. Then creativity. This is the most difficult skill ever so it's highest order thinking skill. So creativity, create space where your children are encouraged to create things. Because people who are changing the world are the ones who are creating things. People who are moving the world, people that we talk about every day today, they are creatives. And then in there should be progression. So I've used this, for instance, video editing, video creation. So Animoto, you just take the pictures and everything in there, and then you click on export, then you create a lovely video for you transition. So that can be used by the children down there. And then there's Canva. This one is a beast, has a whole lot of, you can create videos, logos. For some of you who want to start your lovely businesses, you can create that. You can do everything on this one. But this one, you just need to know how to slightly do the transitions if you're creating a video. And then the last one, that's Premiere Pro. I've started learning Premiere Pro, and I'm loving it. Before Jan, we did a bet that who's going to learn Premiere Pro and master it, and I've started, and I'm creating quite a lot of videos for my YouTube channel. So there's progression from there, like it goes like this. You start with simple things that children can do, then slightly learn 1, 2 basic skills. Then right here, it's open. You have to like do it yourself. So you progress as you go. Any question, comment?
The first 2 or 3.
This one is you can download it too.
Yeah.
And you use free version of it. Just for start. Okay, I think I finished. And this one, so creativity. This is the last one. I'm hoping that creativity. So we spoke to the science teacher yesterday, and I know almost a lot of us. We're teaching our children quite a lot of things, and they're so beautiful. They know so much, and I think the justice that we're doing is not to encourage them to go to the next step and create things. Like your child will know everything about plants. Why don't you just get them a school YouTube channel where they just explaining plants, they planting, they're doing all of it. Because it's just on another level. And maybe a lot of people can watch YouTube, then the school can get money. Yes. Amen. Okay. And then there's children in our classes, they talk forever. We know them. They don't want to be quiet. So instead of shutting them down, we say, okay, my friend, what do you love talking about? I love talking about clouds. There's children that are interested in things that are slightly special. They say, I love clouds, or I love sunset. And they'll explain a whole lot of everything about sunset or clouds. And they can speak well. If they can do that, why can't we just then get a school podcast and then we let them speak? You know, like once a week or once a month or once in 2, and they'll be sitting down, then they talking. And then they talk forever. And then we learn from them. Because that's what they do best. And then this will lead you to their careers. Some of them wants to be radio presenters. That gentleman right there, prefect. Prefect is working at the station because he's speaking plenty. So we're starting their careers once they're here at school. Unlike me, when I finished school, I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to be a teacher. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted money. That's what I wanted. So here it's like you introduce them to TV, presenting, actors, acting, a whole lot of it. But indirectly. Then those of you who are beautiful writers, there's children that write in class, and you look at it, it's like, hey, a 10-year-old wrote this. And I compare it to my writing. Did you see my story? And I'm like, hey, that's good. So that kind of child, what do we do with them? What do you do with their talent? Are we gonna let it go to waste? Are we gonna do something about it? Let's push them to extend what they know. And then those will be your newspaper people, they'll be writing whatever in the future, like the future careers.
Mr. Lebakeng, you know your...
1 second, gentleman exists.
Okay.
No, I was going to ask you to explain what podcasting is.
Podcast. Please explain, say.
You don't know.
Okay, podcast is the same as radio, but you're having your own. It's a small radio that you don't need all the antennas and a whole lot of big things. You can actually just have your phone, and then you go to voice recording. Then you click on record, and then you talk. KG, I love standing in front of people and talk, blah, 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 blah. And it's so lovely. And then like 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, you've been talking. Why? Because you go there talking and you talk plenty. And you talk a lot of right things. Then you stop it. Then you upload it at, which one am I using? What's my one? Spotify.
So it's basically a recorded conversation.
Google has it. Lots. iPhone. I something for iPhone people. They have that, and you just put it there, and then you just give a brief explanation of what you're talking about. I was talking about me working with teachers, the love part about them, and people go there, they'll listen, and then I will share my podcast link, so you can go listen. Please subscribe. Again, subscribe. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, you want to say something?
Sorry, Mr. Akin, I was just saying that, the utterances that you just made, it scaffolds my notion or my philosophy that our children are born with talent.
Yep.
And then the honors lies with us. Because sometimes in my advocacy or my call is for a revolution in the education system, because I think some of these kids, we're just wasting their time teaching them 1 + 1, 2 + 2. Already they are talented, they are gifted. We can see them. And my hope and my wish and my call and my prayers is that we can have schools that can just focus on nurturing the talents of these children. Because a lot of children, I said to Mr. Eisner, they are displaced. Is it displaced or misplaced in the system? Right? They are misplaced in the system. Some kids, they come to school, they don't want to come to school. They don't want to be here, but they have to be here. And we as teachers, we have to deal with them. They know already what they want to do, but
they have to do 1 + 1. Okay. Anybody adding on to this last part? Mr. Essen, you've been quiet for too long. Hey.
He's tired.
He's tired. He's tired. And these are the references and the links for hold on. So this one,
maybe you want to go back to the blog.
To the blog.
You talked about some kids who write very well or write a lot. Where's our English teacher? Is the bamboo again?
Yeah.
Yes. So we had a 3-year-old, no, not a 3-year-old, a child in class 3. He has published a book.
She's published her 3rd book last month.
She's actually published her 3rd book.
Yeah,
what class is she now?
She's in my class 3.
She's in class 3.
Yes.
And
she's published a book every year since class 1. So class 1, class 2, class 3.
Right? So if you identify those unique talents, skills, and abilities in the student, you can provide the required support. And I must say, I follow Henry House on Facebook, and you guys do an amazing job when it comes to the spelling bee.
Yep.
Okay. The kind of support you provide for the kids, they win the regional, they win the zonals, then you go to the nationals and all those things. So you're identifying kids who are very sharp when it comes to recollection and when it comes to spelling and all those things, and you push them. So you need to probably build a bit more on the profile of the students that you have, and then those who probably can write, you let them write. Those who are probably good at creating videos or making stuff, you let them have YouTube channel, post videos about things they do. Those who possibly want to talk about plants, flowers, cocoa, farmlands, what have you, right? Those who create stuff.
Those who have been singing very good.
Those who have been singing have amazing voice. They can also sing, right? You post it, and then when they are creating or they are putting together the chairs, screeding and building parts of or painting or what have you, stuff like that. Okay, and then if you have a school YouTube channel where you post these things, it's hands-on, and parents who appreciate and understand that this is the angle in which learning is going now, and it's not all about classroom, writing, recalling, writing exams and tests and all those things, building their skills and expertise.
I see that Fafa, you all know her. I don't know where I even kept it. She wrote a story with pictures. She drew, and then said, "Please, I want you to type it for me."
Yep.
And then this boy, phone one, Ando, and then about 3 of them. I was on 3 of them. They come and said, "We are doing comedy. Come and see." So what they are telling us, we work on these children and we get more of them. We work on these children and we will create a YouTube channel for the school. And then we will start with these ones. We start with them.
We thank God that we came here.
Yes.
And we thank God that we listened and we moving forward.
We are going to take action
in this video. So this one is a long list. It's a long list of tools that you can use. It's about 100 and something tools. Wow. They're beautiful. So we shared it with you. Have a look, explore, and do whatever that makes you happy with them. Or that makes the children happy in your class. Okay. And that's all from me.
Thank you.
Before I leave, question, your thoughts?
Comments.
I know I made you talk throughout, so if you say there's no question, there's no comment, then I'll say thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's